All right, I am happy to introduce Kevin Gunn. Kevin served as Poet Laureate of Livermore, California from 2013 to 2017. During that time, he curated the Ravenswood Poetry Series and worked with grammar school students and gave many poetry workshops. Kevin also started a Teen Poet of the Month contest program. He has been published in the Song of the San Joaquin, California Quarterly, the Chiron Review, and many other local publications. Kevin's chapbook, Hey Yard Duty, Johnny Said the F Word, a chapbook of poems about teaching, was published by Finishing Line Press in 2016. Please welcome Kevin Gunn.
Okay, the first poem is dedicated to my beautiful wife, Connie, and it's entitled Speedway. She is the Danica Patrick of the spoken word. She can circumnavigate a conversation like a race car driver, steering between the syllables that drive the dialogue. She speeds through segues, fails to slow down at crosswalks of comprehension. She accelerates in every twist and turn of consideration and concern, clocking speeds of 200 words per minute. She maximizes mileage between breaths. Oral octane powers her high velocity vernacular as she downshifts her discourse, spins donuts around and loses me at the corner of who is Marilyn and what in the hell are you talking about? I always ask her to leave a trail of breadcrumbs for me. The next couple of poems are from a book I've been trying to get published about my dog, Hank, my golden retriever. And this poem is called The Promised Land. Sniff, circle, pirouette, lift. Sniff, circle, pirouette, lift. This canine catechism is a sacrament practiced on bushes, hydrants, trees, and fence posts. There is something religious about this ceremonial circling, its rhythm and cadence, the reverence a dog gives to each potential target. Every smell and nuance of leaf, bark, trunk, and root is carefully measured. I wonder how they choose which are worthy. Do they pee in protest, a sort of condemnation urination, expressing their disapproval? Or do they pee in praise, a hallelujah chorus, sprinkled in bow wow baptism? It is too much ritual to render it random. Sniff, circle, pirouette, lift. If only somehow my dog could speak, I learned the zen of taking a leak. This next poem is also about my dog. It's called The Mathematics of Pets. My wife brought home a stray dog and asked me if we could keep him. I never wanted a pet. I didn't want the added responsibility. I felt it would take time away from what I wanted to do, make it harder for me to travel, lessen the spontaneity in my life. To me, it was a matter of simple division and subtraction. It took a couple of weeks before I noticed a new equation. The pleasure of Hank's companionship became a welcome addition. The joy of watching my new retriever jumping up and down, anticipating me throwing the tennis ball, was greater than the mundane task of scooping his poop, filling his water dish, and preparing his meals. Taking care of my gregarious Golden has more than multiplied the meaning in my life. His commitment to me has increased the loyalty logarithm exponentially. Hank has given me insight into the formula for unconditional love, where he is the lowest common denominator. How he selects which bush or tree to lift his leg on is a mystery to me, just like those word problems I suffered through in algebra. I never liked mathematics, but my dog Hank has corrected my calculations. He is the best math teacher I ever had. And this poem is the title of this book that I'm trying to get published, called Bag the Wag. If only I could bag the wag and take it with me every day, my attitude would be immune from demons that may come to play. If only I could bag the wag, I could smile no matter what. And when stress chose to seek me out, I'd visualize a wiggly butt. If only I could bag the wag and bottle up its bow wow bliss, pain would never have a chance. I'd conjure every canine kiss. If only I could bag the wag and take it in the car with me, When traffic jams would press my peace, that tail would save my sanity. If only I could bag the wag, then I would be a happy boy. And when bad news would weigh me down, I'd channel all my dog's pure joy. My life would never leak or lag if only I could bag the wag. Thank you. One last one on the dog, the nose knows. I jiggle the leash, the jumping begins, his tail wags at warp speed. It's time for my walk with Hank. Our official route is the bike path, but the journey is never the same. Hank's nose runs the show. This two-nostril GPS system tracks every scent within range. It is a highly sensitive instrument. It considers everything and incessantly asks the proverbial question, to pee or not to pee. I try to keep up, maintain some level of control, but to Hank, longitude and latitude are nothing more than attitude. Take a sudden left, prepare to stop, veer right, watch out for the tree, circle around, don't hit the fence post, back up, switch the leash to the other hand. The longer we walk, I wax philosophic. An unsniffed world is an unexamined world. Sniff and ye shall find. One good sniff deserves another. And Descartes be damned. I sniff, therefore I am. Thank you. I'm going to switch gears here and read a poem about how pathetically terrible I am at computers. This one's called Password Peril. I am a high-tech hostage held by computer captors. The random ransom daily doled in code puts me in memory mode. Is it numbers or maybe a word? Whatever it is, I find it absurd. Try to get on the internet, access my bank, turn off my security system. Sometimes I go blank. I'm in password purgatory. Hell can't be much worse. Email, voicemail, it's all an encrypted curse. Substitute phone ID, hope I wrote it down. My mind is backstroking in digits. It won't be long before I drown. Pension PIN number, I think it's my birthday. Don't pass go until you know. Why can't there be another way? I'm a prisoner of the 21st century. Please break me out of this password penitentiary. I did a lot of writing about the pandemic, and I'm going to read a few of those poems next. This first one is called Zorro Reboot. I wake up, take a moment to summon my inner Zorro, put on my mask, set out to save the world, that is, run errands. Who would have thought in all my superhero fantasies that I could one day walk into a bank, cinch up my mask, stand 6 feet apart from the nearest fellow customer, and feel heroic, doing my part in rendering our aerosol arch enemy powerless. I walk down the street, past another look-alike masked marauder, doing their good deed. There's not much time for socializing. Can't give those breathable bandits any airspace. I go into the grocery store, follow the arrows on the floor, dart between the aisles, dodge oncoming shoppers, push my cart to the checkout stand, squirt a liquid bacterial barricade onto my hands, making me ready to do battle with any desperado droplets I might encounter. Sans the strapping white horse, the swashbuckling sword, the swirling black cape, I forge ahead, a hero nonetheless. Thank you. Bonnie and Clyde Boomerang. Ballyhooed bank robbers out on the lam. Fast forward to now, that's become who I am. Flying under the radar of droplet-laced disease, hiding out in my safe house from bacteria on the breeze. When I do go out, a mask conceals my face. I go about my business without leaving any trace. Unrecognizable to others, I try to keep my distance. I say very little, try to dodge any rage resistance. I feel like Ted Kaczynski, estranged from family and friends. I follow all the rules on which COVID compliance depends, laying low until we know we have a safe vaccine, feeling like a fugitive, a crook on quarantine. Thank you. A couple more of these. Noble Knights. Farm workers are marginalized martyrs who daily face a phalanx of frontline fears. Diligent, dedicated, not nearly enough medicated, Vaccine vacant, they labor like medieval knights with no inner armor. Courageous, conscientious, they toil in the trenches, doing their best to serve all our needs with no inclination to romanticize their deeds. This one on the pandemic is called Bison. Unvaccinated vagabonds wandering on the periphery of the herd, like bison exiles, out of step, walking to the back-ass beat of some discordant drummer, trampling all over the foundation of recovery. These vaccineless vagrants, brainwashed, befuddled, their reasoning muddled, want to join the parade without a permit, leaving no way for officials to confirm it. In the mix, wannabes whining about the infringement of rights, obsessing over misperceived slights. Just shut up already and put on a mask. Show your immunity if someone should ask. I've got a couple of teaching poems from Hey Yard Diddy. Johnny said the F word. Peanut butter. Some students stick to the roof of my mouth like peanut butter. Their unpalatable presence spreads over the classroom with thick remarks I find difficult to swallow. This next one from that book is called Anybody. I ask the class a question, wait for a response. The seconds calendar over me like the month of January. Nothing, not one student has anything to say. I rephrase thinking they don't understand, still not a stir. I attempt to stimulate a discussion, clarify what I mean, offer an illustration. The lesson glaciers long. I look at the clock, pray for a thaw. Only 5 minutes have passed. Feels like an eternity to a teacher on ice. A couple more of these. Onions. I grow onions in class, multi-layered lessons I feed my students. I labor to teach them to peel back the outer skin, inhale the information, sniff through the sources, analyze the aroma, breathe deeper, uncover the pungent odor of insight, a smell that will stay with them. And the last one I'm going to read about from this book is called Angler. I'm going fishing, hoping to catch my limit. Did I choose the right bait? Will my students be biting? Can I hook their attention? I trawl the classroom trying to get to a deeper level of understanding. That's where the real beauties are. Insights feed near the bottom. I cast my questions, a student hits the line. I reel in the answer. Not bad. I change lures, offer points for class participation, angle the discussion, throw back insignificant comments, pull out observations, weigh conclusions, measure meaning. Many keepers. What a great day to fish. And one last one here called RIP. A quiet class is easy to manage, but so is a cemetery. Students sit and stare like sphinxes. Their silence settles over me, buries my enthusiasm, dulls the sharp edges of my wit, turns me into a caretaker of this first period mausoleum. The grim reaper of conversation visits his death knell on class discussion. May it rest in peace. I've got a poem here about getting older, and each day I feel this poem called Degenerates. This crowd is tough, rough around the edges, knocked hard, scarred. They've been through wars, skeletal skirmishes, bone-creaking battles, their discs dueling, spurs sparring, settling, wedging their way between cervical shelves. Aches, pains, leveraging canes, these deviated desperados lean, limp, sometimes slip, kneel and pay homage to their artificial hip, painstakingly refuse to give up their ship. They put on their cortisone-lined life jackets and pack their anti-inflammatory lifeboats with painkillers and ice. as they neuropathically navigate their varicose voyage. So I have written a couple of poems about, I had a collection of poems I've written about my grandson back when he was 2.5, 3 years old. And this one's called Superheroes in a Bucket. My wife delights in surprising my grandson with a new superhero nearly every week. Batman, Spider-Man, the Incredible Hulk, Superman, Flash, the Green Lantern. Jacob is up to his earlobes in freewheeling figurines. Each day he hands me a select superhero to battle his favorite freedom fighter. He lifts a leg into kicking position, raises an arm to inflict a barbaric blow as we begin to mix it up. My wife wastes no time in telling us to make sure we fight gently. Don't be too aggressive, she says. Not too much violence. So we are reduced to conscientious objector combatants or the non-aggression pact. Straight-jacketed superheroes, pacifistic pugilists who assert their superpower, emasculated action figures who may need some time on the couch in therapy to ascertain their true identities. Created for combat to save the world from dastardly evildoers, they are relegated to testosterone-deprived crossing guards and caregivers, symbolic sultans of SWAT, for all practical purposes neutered, turning their swords into plowshares, left to contemplate their fickle fate. I've got just a couple left here, and I might as well I don't really want to, a couple of political poems I'll finish up with. This first one's called Flood Watch. Fake news flash floods surge, causing a deluge of deception, leaving society awash in a teeming tide of conspiracy theories. Flood control fact finders stack sandbags to quell the quasi-currents of counterfeit claims. Truth-tethered levees are leveraged by lies as we watch the rainstorm of rhetoric rise. And the last poem is called Get Off the Gas. A gaslit Gauguin, complete with rose-colored faux factual frame, hangs over the country, surrealistic stylings depicting an alternate reality, a decoupage mirage, touches of modern art abstraction, less focused, more of a distraction. The President's Painter's so-called media masterpiece, a manufactured montage of brainwashed brushstrokes that would make Cezanne vomit. While Americans look the other direction, he'll claim it was a silly hoax. There really was no serious infection. A grim canvas of death, darkened hues reflect the pain. 180,000 souls laid to rest, but he's not really the one you should blame. Tweeted, repeated again and again, lines blurred on the boundaries as if mismarked in pen. Protest starkly pictured in clear black and white, covered over in pastels to make everything look bright. Millions of unemployed with little or no relief, a portrait of human hardship turned into a Machiavellian motif. Like a vandalized Van Gogh, his distorted perspective filters through his fingers in propaganda-laced invective. In the gallery of public opinion, he hangs his untruths on the wall, a collection of oil-based obfuscations, a pathetic tribute to his gaslighting gall. I appreciate the opportunity to read. You guys are great, and looking forward to hearing everyone else's poetry as well.